I want to tell you about something that we're introducing called Ridge Thrive. So we want to create and grow a culture of generosity at our church. The Apostle Paul actually uses the word excel. He says, I want you to excel in generosity. And so one of the things that you guys, whether you know this or not, and if you've been a part of this place for any length of time, you're a part of this as well, but you're known for this in the community. Our church is known for being really generous to those in need, generous to the other nonprofits in our community and to the community at large. And so we have experienced in the last 24 months a very rapid season of growth. Our church has literally tripled in size in the last 24 months. So with that kind of rapid growth, it comes with a lot of opportunities, but as you can imagine, it comes with a lot of challenges as well. Some of our physical environments are over capacity. Some of our family ministry environments are. We actually had the opportunity to open up a brand new environment. In fact, some people are experiencing this service in that environment. Our cafe venue where we stream live into that, we're seeing between 25 and 30 people a week between the two services that are in that venue, which opened up some seats in this room that you're in. But we have some of our environments, like our student ministry, that are completely over capacity in their environments. If you ever were to go up there and see it, you would have a brand new definition for what over capacity looks like, which we're grateful. Growth in every single way that you can imagine. So here's what I want to do. I want to start at the end and work my way backwards if I could. So by the fourth quarter of this year, our dream would be that we would be in a place that we would enter into an expansion campaign that would include several things. We've got some images. Some of you have seen this, others of you have not. If you've been to our next environment, we actually talk about this a little bit in there, have just started to talk about it in a public space. But we're going to expand our environments. And again, we would love to be in a space to start this in the fourth quarter of this year, but it'll include a new auditorium. Everything that we build will have a dual function both for the church and for the community. So we want to build an auditorium that will function as a community theater and a rentable space for the community. There'll be new upgraded children's environments, expanded children's environments, brand new student space, and then multiple other phases that can go with this as well. And so we're really excited about that. The site plan, the basic site plan has already been approved through Matthews, which is a really big hurdle to get through. And so we've already done all that behind the scenes. But here's what I want for us as a church. I want to make sure that we are thriving in every way imaginable, including but not limited to financially. But I want to make sure that we're thriving before we take on something of this magnitude. And so that brings us back to current. We closed out last year about $75,000 short of our budget needs. Now, I don't know how that registers with you. For some of you, you run large organizations, and that may not feel like that big a deal. And others of you, that may feel overwhelming. But for us, that $75,000 at the end of the year that we would have budgeted this year, it has a significant impact, really, particularly on the first 6 months of the year. But what we're looking to do is grow our culture of generosity. So I want to give you a visual that will kind of help you illustrate this. I want you to imagine that this is all the people that actively attended Ridge Church last year. Don't try and count them. It's not actual. It's a representation, all right? So imagine this is the people that attended. I want to show you another. This highlighted group, this is the people that actively attended our church that also financially contributed to our church. It's 23%. Interestingly, even of that 23%, I think about half of them were $100 or less. Now, so when I say that, I don't know what you think or what you feel, what comes to your mind, but there's two things that kind of come to my mind. One is I'm blown away by the incredible amount of good that we were able to do with what I would consider a relatively small percentage of the people who actively attended our church actually giving to our church. There were so many incredible stories that came out of last year, including but not limited to the fact that we baptized 52 individuals last year, the most that we had ever baptized in a single year in the life of our church. And so this, when I show this, this is not like a shame thing. This is like can you imagine? This is like an opportunity thing. Can you imagine if this dynamic changed or the percentage changed? And we're not naive. We're not looking for it to be 100%. But what if this could just become 50%? If 50% of the people that actively attend our church actually contributed and engaged in a financial matter, in a financial way, the capacity for us missionally would be remarkable. Again, I said this, the 23%, we, in last year and really in the last couple of years, we saw more missional impact than some nonprofits and churches see really in their entire existence. And so we're dreaming of what God would do through a church that is fully mobilized and a church that is thriving when it comes to the financial realities. And so in that way, I want to invite you and I want to show you how you can help. It's really simple. 3 ways that you can participate in Ridge Thrive. The first one is this: you can just become a percentage giver. Most people give, they're more tippers. It's kind of, as you think about it, or it's emotional, or it's kind of convenience giving, or you see something, you're like, hey, I want to give to that initiative, and all those things are incredible. But if you would consider becoming a percentage giver, pick a percentage of your income and give that on a regular basis to our church. It'll be a huge, huge difference maker in our ability to thrive as a church and set us up for the future. The second one is this: if you're already a percentage giver, would you consider increasing your percentage giving? If you're 2, to go to 4. If you're 4, go to 6%. Some of you have traditionally been tithers. Would you consider, even for a season, can you increase that? And then the last one is this: would you consider automating the important? And this is what we mean when we say this. Will you consider putting it on some kind of reoccurring? And here's why: because all of you amazing and beautiful people are going to go on a lot of vacations, and we're glad you're going to, and your generosity keeps working when you're on vacation, when you automate the important. And that's it. Those are the ways that we're just saying, hey, if we as a church can step into this space, and I think Paul talks about this again, the idea of excelling in our generosity. It's not that we haven't been generous. You guys have, and we've done incredible things, but I believe the future is really, really bright for our church, and we want to invite you to come along and be a part of that. There are several different ways to give. For me, I use the app most often. Some of you didn't even know we had an app. You can download that. The QR code will give you all the different ways to give. There's a lot of non-traditional ways too. Non-cash assets or stocks or all these kind of different things, crypto, all these different ways that people can engage. But we would love for you to be a part of that journey. And I want to tell you why we named it Thrive, this whole generosity kind of initiative. The reason we named it this is because I believe that according to the scripture, when we're generous, it's not just the mission that thrives, it's us as individuals. In fact, Solomon talks about this, Paul talks about this, and Jesus talks about this. The idea that when we're generous, not only does the mission of God thrive, but we as individuals thrive. Solomon says it, Jesus says it, Paul says it, that it is not our relationship to wealth that makes us thrive. It is our relationship to generosity. And so something happens in us and something happens on the other side of us as a result of that generosity.